Hello and welcome to a short progress report on our Erasmus project. The programme is funded by the EU and it supports innovation in teaching and learning. At Our Ladies, we are privileged to work with partner schools in Austria, Italy, Bulgaria and Slovenia on a digital learning project entitled The Flipped Classroom. As part of the programme, teachers engage in professional development and professional collaboration, and they facilitate students to engage purposefully in meaningful learning activities. During this video, you will hear from students and teachers who participated in a week-long programme of events in Slovenia earlier this term. The mobility was a huge success, and we very much look forward to the next mobility, which will take place at Our Lady Secondary School in Templemore.
How did you feel when you were picked on the team?
When I was picked for the team, I was quite speechless and I couldn't really think properly. But after a few minutes, I was actually really delighted, and my parents were delighted for me as well, and so were my friends.
And how did you feel for a couple of days afterwards?
It was like I was walking on air for a few days.
Excellent, okay. Were you nervous about going?
I wasn't, because I had been abroad before, but I've never been to Slovenia before, and I've never been away without my parents.
Okay, so did you try and do some research on Slovenia?
Yeah, I did do a bit of research, and it was a lovely place, and I wasn't too worried after that.
So Tom, was the language a problem when you got there?
The language wasn't much of a problem when we got there because everyone could speak really good English, and the Austrians, we made friends with them and they could speak good English, so we often had conversations with them. And the Slovenians in the school, they also had really good English because they'd been studying it for a while.
Did you have any opportunities to talk other languages?
I spoke a bit of German to the Austrians, I was alright, and we actually taught them a few Irish phrases while we were over there.
Excellent, good. Anna, what were the main differences with school in Ireland and school in Slovenia?
Well, one of the main differences that you notice is how early they start school. We start school here at 10 to 9, they start at 7 in the morning. I would not be able to do that anyway. And then they finish at around 1:45, 1:30 after they had eaten lunch. They also eat breakfast in school, which we don't do here in Ireland either.
What about the age differences?
Oh, in their school they have students aged 6 to 14. Apart in our school we have 12 to 18, 19. It's a nice atmosphere having the younger children in the school. It's all like a big family atmosphere is what I describe it as over there.
Did they have a school uniform?
They did not have a school uniform. They wore their own clothes, but they had to wear these, what they called house shoes, which were basically little slippers, little pull-on slipper things that they wore inside. And just in Europe, that's what they wear inside, just out of respect for the family and the building.
And what about their facilities?
They had many facilities there. It wouldn't have been as big as our school. There was only around 400 pupils in it. But they had a beehive, they had 3 courts, playgrounds, there was a kindergarten right across the street. It was just, everything was so colourful, it was just lovely over there.
Okay, Julie, can you tell me a little bit about the welcome ceremony?
For the welcome ceremony, it was in the school, and we arrived at the school and the head teacher gave a speech and we got presented gifts from the head teacher. And 3 girls played music for us. 2 of them played the fiddle or the violin, and then the other girl played the cello. After that, the choir of the school sang a couple of really good songs, and then the head teacher spoke again to finish it off, and we felt very welcome after the ceremony, and it was a very good start to the trip.
Okay, can you tell me about the excursion to the film exhibition?
We got shown 10 tips on how to make a good quality video. Some of the tips was different ways on holding the camera, and another one was how to edit a video and get good shots of it.
And after that you had the virtual reality experience?
Yeah, we had a VR hot air balloon tour of the town of Slovenia. We put on goggles and we got a virtual tour, and it was cool to see what it would be like if we were in a hot air balloon. At the end of the exhibition, we went outside and practiced our videoing skills on the lake that was outside the building, and we took videos of each other throwing stones into the lake.
Anna, could you tell me about your trips to Ljubljana and Lake Bled, please?
So on the Wednesday we took off at around 7:30 in the morning. We went to the Slovenian school, and then we went to Ljubljana, which is the capital city of Slovenia. It's also the smallest capital in Europe. It's very small. It's around the size of Limerick, I compare it to. Everyone was so relaxed there. There wasn't any traffic around the place. It was just so calm. And the people there were so lovely. We were asked 4 times where we were from while talking to people, and it was just so nice and bubbly over there.
Brilliant. And then about Lake Bled?
Lake Bled is huge. It's a lake, obviously. A huge lake. It's situated just beneath the Alps. So you have mountains all around you. There's a castle up on this cliff. It's most famous for having a church built on an island. So we got a small wooden boat out to the island, and then we climbed 99 steps up to the church, and we were told that it's traditional for if you got married on the island that the groom would carry the wife up the 99 steps. That's what we were told. And we were exhausted climbing it up.
As part of the Erasmus mobility, you had the school radio. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So on Tuesday we did a bit of the school radio, which was broadcasted to all students through the school intercom, and everyone introduced themselves, said their name and their age, and spoke a little bit of their language. And then on Thursday, we got interviewed. Each country interviewed another country on their cultures, their day-to-day life, and the year for them. I interviewed 4 of the Slovenians on their year in Slovenia, and the Bulgarians interviewed 2 of us over Zoom. It was really good because we got to learn all about their culture and their day-to-day life.
Anna, also as part of the Erasmus mobility, you had to edit some film clips.
Yes, so throughout the week we were taking short clips of everywhere we went to. So we went to lakes, took pictures and videos, and there's Ljubljana, loads of pictures and videos, and we edited them. On Thursday, someone came in to teach us, and we edited them all together into one vlog of our week. So we went in chronological order, started from our travelling on Monday to finishing up on Thursday. And we put in all our interviews that were done throughout the week as well to it. Then we added music to it as well, so it became one big vlog that we worked over the entire week.
The traditional food, all the students, it was student run, we got to cook a traditional dish from our countries. It was really good because we got to cook a traditional Irish stew, the Austrians cooked a traditional pancake dish, and the Slovenians, they cooked a traditional chicken dish, and the Sicilians cooked tiramisu. It was really nice. We had them for dinner. Everyone enjoyed everyone else's dishes. There was no burning down kitchen. And it was all around really good fun.
The theme of the Erasmus programme was the flipped classroom. How did you implement this now?
We implemented the flipped classroom through workshops, and during the workshop we felt independent because it was our piece of work and it wasn't just like a set piece of work. And it was really good because we got to pair up and meet a new person and talk, and it was nice all around. The difference between a flipped classroom and a traditional classroom is you're more independent, and it's not a set piece of work. You can do your own thing as long as it fits the general theme of the class.
Brilliant, okay. Anna, what was your experience of the flipped classroom?
I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was so nice to be interacting with people instead of just listening to the teacher tell you whatever you were learning. It was like you were talking to other people, communicating, learning about the other people while you're also doing your work. It was really effective, I must say, of learning, because you were learning from other people, but you were also learning from the class at the same time.
Was there any particular project that you undertook?
First workshop we did was called Project Logo, where we were put into pairs. Each person from another country is paired with someone from a different country. I was paired with someone from Austria, and we were given the country Austria to work with. So we were each given a triangle-shaped poster, basically, and you needed to have the flag on top, and then 3 different images that like represent the country that you've been chosen to do. So for us, we had music notes to represent Mozart, and we had mountains, and we had lakes, because that's everywhere in Austria. And it was nice because I didn't know about the landscape of Austria, and I was told a lot about it while we were doing the workshop.
What was your favourite part of the Erasmus mobility?
My favourite part about the mobility was making lots of new friends from different countries, like Slovenia and Austria. We became friends by doing projects in class with each other and just hanging out in general.
Are you still in contact with them?
Yeah, we're still in contact with them because we still message each other on Snapchat.
What was your favourite part of the Erasmus mobility?
My favourite part of the Erasmus mobility was also making new friends, and we became very close with them, and also the culture evening when we had to make them Irish stew, traditional Irish stew, and after that we went down to this obstacle park on scooters, and it was great fun with the different countries and our new friends.
And what was your favourite part of the Erasmus mobility in Slovenia?
My favourite part would have to be our trip to Ljubljana. It was so exciting meeting other people, telling them where you're from. I loved doing that. I thought it was so nice, and learning about where other people were from. The city was just so nice, and I just loved the energy of it. That would by far top the trip for me.
Excellent. Tom, what would you consider as your most favourite part of the Erasmus mobility?
My favourite part of the Erasmus mobility was probably going up to Bled Castle, and it was really nice because you overlooked Lake Bled, and it was just such a scenic view with the Alps in the background. And I met a new friend there, and the castle, it was really interesting, and it had a lot of history about Slovenia in it, and it was just all around really nice.
Would you recommend the Erasmus programme to other students in Our Ladies?
Yeah, I would really recommend the Erasmus programme because it was such a good opportunity to see different schools and countries, and the amount of new friends we made was amazing from other countries.
I would highly recommend it as well because you can learn a lot from it, and it was great fun, and you can make a lot of new friends.
Would you recommend the Erasmus programme to other students in Our Ladies?
I would anyway, 100%. I just found it. We got our phones taken off us, but you wouldn't recognise they were gone because everyone was just so busy doing other things that you wouldn't even miss them. You just forgot about everyone back home while you were over there. I loved it anyway. 100% recommend it.
And I thought I would definitely recommend it 100% because it was just so much fun and great crack, meeting new people from all around the world, and it was just amazing.
Emily, tell us about the school in Slovenia in comparison to Ireland from a teacher's perspective.
So from a teacher's perspective, the minute that we got off the bus on the Monday, we noticed a couple of different things. For example, the school building was amalgamated between primary school and secondary school, so we had a lot of younger students and older students in the one building, and actually created a really relaxed, nice atmosphere, I must say, in the school. And the second thing we noticed, of course, and the kids picked up on relatively early on, is that the kids don't wear uniforms. So that's normal for secondary schools over in that area, in that section of Europe. They find it quite odd that we have to wear a school uniform, for example, over here in Ireland. They find that quite unusual. The third thing we realised as well is that the school puts a huge onus on continuous assessment. So for assessments like we have in Ireland, we don't have a huge onus on continuous assessment. In Slovenia, for example, 50% of their overall grades, whether it's junior certificate or leaving certificate, goes on continuous assessment. They feel like that keeps their attendance levels up high, and they also feel like that takes the pressure off students in school settings. That's why I think we find the school atmosphere very relaxing and calm in comparison to somehow some schools can be perceived over here in Ireland, for example.
This was your first experience with the Erasmus mobility. What did you think of that?
I loved it. I suppose being a foreign language teacher, I'm used to going on school excursions, school trips, mostly to Germany, being a German teacher. But it was lovely to get involved with other countries from Europe that I wouldn't even be myself that familiar with, let alone the students. So we had other schools, as we mentioned before, like Slovenia, Sicily, Bulgaria, ourselves, and these schools are relatively small, similar enough size to Our Lady's Secondary School here in Templemore, and they're countries that we don't know that much about, even myself personally speaking. So it was nice to go for a different kind of a mix of countries than our usual France or German, trip that we usually go on every 2 or 3 years here in the school itself. The kids loved it, and they had no problem with the language barrier. If anything, it actually brought them on better. Every school had somewhat a reasonably good standard of English. So that was their main communication barrier, and there was no limitations there. That's what I found.
Would you recommend the Erasmus programme to other staff?
Absolutely. And going into it, I was a bit unsure as to what to expect, personally speaking myself. But having gone on the first mobility, I now fully understand what's involved. You get to experience maybe 3 or 4 different cultures from different countries in one mobility. Instead of going to, we'll say, France for a trip or a German trip where you just get to experience one culture, you get to experience maybe 3 or 4 in the one mobility trip. And the choice of countries that are on offer are just endless. And a bit more, I suppose, a bit unusual as to what we're used to here in school from going to, regular countries in Europe that we go every 2 or 3 years. I would highly recommend it. And I would say if anybody is interested in doing it, don't be afraid of getting involved. Even if you're not a language teacher, it doesn't matter. You could be from the maths department, you could be from the science department, geography department. It's universal and anybody can attend, teacher or student.
Tina, can you tell us how you initiated this programme?
This programme goes way back to the late 1990s when initially we had an exchange with a small town in the south of Austria. And they are now linked with us in the Erasmus programme. So we did lingua programmes, we did Comenius programmes, exchanges, and the seed was sown then. So when this school was initiating the programme, they invited me and the school to take part in it. And I was delighted because I knew the school well and I knew the principal very well and the teachers. So it was a great start. And I knew we were going to work very well together as well because we had worked before. They had already made contact with a school in Sicily who they had contact with previously, and we invited Bulgaria and Slovenia. So we're all very different types of countries and types of schools, which makes it work really well. I think that was the biggest advantage when we were in Slovenia, that it came together like a jigsaw. We were totally different, but we had a common interest, and having a common theme of the flipped classroom just integrated it well, and we worked really well together. Often I find I tried to initiate programs like this before, but you need 5 partners on the same base working together with a common goal, and sometimes that's hard to get, but we found it and we're very, very lucky.
Why do you think the Erasmus programme is worthwhile?
It's worthwhile because, first of all, when you're in Europe, when we were in Austria in November 2019 at our first meeting from Ireland, and then when we were in Slovenia later on last week, you feel when you're coming from Ireland you're far away, especially from Sicily. So it integrates Ireland into Central Europe, which sometimes we're a little bit isolated. And it works well because I suppose you have different cultures coming together. I found it exciting to be sitting at a work table and all the different languages working. I personally was very lucky because the language of this project is English, but the school we were in, their strongest language was German, so that was an advantage to us, and I liked that as well. The Slovenian language was so different, but yet we were picking it up, especially when you're working on the computer, learning the Slovenian words for print and for save, and we did that. It was lovely to have Sicily involved, because we don't have a lot of contact with Sicily here. So the advantage of making friends, making connections, and learning about the cultures there. For example, the principal in Sicily took on a new principalship, so he's a principal of 3 schools, and he's a principal of a school of 1,000 pupils on the island of Lampedusa. When he mentioned Lampedusa, I said, where have I heard that? And it took me a day or two to think. And of course I had heard it because that's where all the refugees have arrived, well, lots of them. There's actually a camp there with 1,500 refugees. Nevertheless, the island only has 6,000 inhabitants. So he's a principal there, and that's an area I'd love to talk to him more about. Didn't get the chance there. So we get a chance to to engage with a lot of different social issues, cultural issues, language issues, above all friendships. And if the students who are already planning to visit some of the students, that's the success of it. And we have the connections made with the teachers.
Right, okay. What are your future plans for the next mobility in December in Templemore?
Okay, that's coming around very quickly. The other 4 countries, Bulgaria, Slovenia, Sicily and Austria, are all arriving in Templemore on the weekend of the 6th of December. They'll be staying in the Templemore Arms because you can't stay with families because of the COVID restrictions. So we're building up a programme that we're going to have, and the kernel of the programme will be developing the flipped classroom idea, using video footage, using interviews, using blogs, and advancing that to another level. We have 3 videos we have to have made before they arrive, and each country is doing 3. So we'll present 15. Our videos are going to be, our 3 are, how do you learn a new sport? They were very anxious that we use hurling. They were very impressed with the boys playing hurling. And how do you learn skills in learning a new language and to use English, things that they find difficult that they've told us. And they'd love if we made a 3-minute video that would just help other nationalities on how to learn English. And the 3rd area is on internet safety. So we'll have a number of videos by the end of the programme that we put up on YouTube as the flipped classroom kind of progressive idea. That's the plan.
Have you received much support from the other staff in Our Ladies?
I'm glad you asked me that. We've received fantastic support, especially from Miss Higgins and from Mr. Paul Fogarty. Absolutely fantastic support. Going out to Slovenia, I was very concerned because we had to be accommodated in a hotel. So that was more money than we were given by the Erasmus National Agency. But they said, just go and do your best. And we cut back in other areas. For example, we had the possibility of bringing 5 students, we brought 4. Of bringing 3 staff members, we brought 2. So to try and keep the mobility going. What was lovely was all the good wishes we got when we were leaving. Really, really, we appreciated it. So.
Would you recommend Erasmus Mobility to other staff?
I'd recommend it very much to other staff. It's something people are fearful of because the application process is very tedious. Applying and having a novel idea and having it accepted and they're sending it back to you and trying to redraft it, all of that is quite difficult. We were very, very lucky that the principal in the Austrian school, he has organised so many Erasmus programmes and he knows all the pitfalls, so he worked very closely together with us. They are the chief organisers. We are one of the 4 partner countries, so we had a lot of support there. Once you get over that step, and once our school now is a recognised Erasmus school, it would be easier for any other staff members to apply, say in the line of sport or of maths or whatever, in any area to apply because the groundwork is done. But definitely the benefits are huge. And sometimes I was sending emails late at night, but when you're out there and you see the results of it and the communication and the hard work that's been done, it's like anything. It's like a match, it's like anything. It's worth it in the end.